We crack. Okay. And there's YouTube. Behold the glory of YouTube. Grand rising, everybody. Let's have a look at the transits today. So I used to do this show on Discord called Tea and Transits, in which I would read the transits. And I don't do it anymore. But I still track the transits. And currently we are in a rather interesting transit. Correction and opinions. So if you've felt an increase of corrective energy, like corrective awareness, if you felt an increase in feeling like misjudged or being afraid of being judged by others, if you felt an influx of opinions, like your own opinions or other people's opinions, it's because of the transits. And so what a lot of people are coming to learn, right, is that we are not living in a vacuum, right? Like other people's energies affect us and our energies affect other people. And one of the ways that we can account for this is by quite literally just accounting for it. Like the same way that you would go outside and check the weather, like look outside and look around. And then you also might check a weather app. Some people don't do any of that. Some people just like go into their day without checking the weather on a device and hearing the weather report. And they also aren't actually going out and looking at the weather. And so that's something that, I just kind of want to normalize. And I think that's what I was attempting to do with my my Tea in Transit show. Hello, Janet. Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you. Jenny, what's up? I saw you in here earlier too. Good morning, y'all. It's Monday. I'm drinking my coffee today. It's a coffee, and it's a coffee kind of day. And yeah, we're feeling lit today. Feeling quite lit today. So anyway, talking about the transits, again, the sun is currently in gate 18, which is all about correction. This is work on what's been spoiled. And so that corrective energy is very much so alive in the collective right now. That's what a transit is. It's when the neutrinos from the sun primarily are moving through one of the gates. Now, there's neutrinos moving through us all the time, but primarily the stream that we look at that is going to have the most impact on us is going to be the sun, which if you have neutrino design, you can literally look at the sun's transit. You can read about the transit of the sun, how it's going to affect you, if it defines any of your centers or not. What's up, the fairy medicine woman? I love that name. Yeah, and this is something that like anybody can do. You don't need to like really understand human design to download neutrino design, start using the transit feature, and just start like exploring like, oh, this is something that I'm collectively going to see. So the two that are primarily going to be the one that's primarily active right now is gate 18, which is as I was saying, correction, right? So it's the access to intuitive understanding around what needs to be fixed, right? There's a temptation to correct other people, right? And with that, like wanting to correct other people, there is, of course, this: is it appropriate to correct the other person? Am I being invited to correct the other person? Because when you have these things in your awareness, it makes interactions so much easier. Because, for instance, one of the things about this energy, right, is that this 18, which is live right now, and we're in the third line of it. No, we're in the fifth line of it today. There's a lot of this in the transits right now, guys. The north node and south nodes are also in 18 and 17, which always makes for a nice little conjunction. Thank you guys for tapping, by the way. It makes my my Jenny very, very happy. It makes me happy as well. This number, if we get this up higher, which I realized, guys, and it's funny because I made the goal last month when I started going live regularly. I made the goal like, hey, let's get up to like the top rankings. And I went and viewed some of the top rankings, and we've been at one point, this was at 50K. So we've been in like the top 20. And that's thanks to you guys. Probably mostly Jenny, because she's the one that always reminds me like, hey Marco, we're here. Please tell us to tap the screen. So if you're enjoying this, if you're getting any kind of value at it, please like it, please share it. Helps it out a lot, because again, the mission is to just get this information out to more people. What's up, Flowbug? How do? Um, because this is human design, and this is something that a lot of people consider to be a very advanced system. Yashana Codes, what's up? Wake Up America, thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate you. There's no reason why we can't be up there with like, I mean, there's people who have like 100,000 likes. We were like halfway there, and all they're doing is like they're battling each other. And this is a hilarious example of how prevalent the not self is. So in human design, the idea is that your human design is going to show you what's natural for you versus what you've normalized based around some external source of value. What I mean by that is like, for instance, you got a nice car because other people think it's a nice car, not necessarily because it's the car you want, right? Or it's a well-respected car, or that's a well-respected suit, that's a well-respected house, rather than like actually where do you want to live. So human design shows us um where we can get more natural and where we can let go of what's normal. Your intuition videos where we respond with sounds always center me. That's exactly what they're meant to do, because again, the problem is not that we're too in our heads. The problem is that we're just not in our bodies enough. And human design is literally a system that is designed to help us surrender to our form. I'm 31 years old, happily 31. And in surrendering to the form, what we're able to do is, we're essentially able to like be ourselves. And this is something that I feel like every human being that is self-aware really values deeply, is being yourself. But how do you figure out what being yourself looks like or feels like? And human design is literally the map that leads us there. Now, the thing is not the thing. It's the thing that leads us there or helps us get closer to it, right? We're not just relying on human design to tell us who we are. We're looking at human design and saying, okay, let me experiment with some of these things that human design is saying, primarily strategy and authority, and allowing ourselves to operate on that for a while to see how things go. And it's awesome because it works, right? Gian, I'm very new to this. If I use and sub to the app, is it new and user friendly? Yes, it is very user friendly. However, there is an overwhelming amount of information, right? Like there's so much information in there. So what I would recommend is when you get the app, you know, if you start to feel overwhelmed, don't panic. That's totally natural. It's just like, if you are at a festival and there's like 100 different stages, or there's 100 different booths doing 100 different things that you really like, naturally you're going to be overwhelmed by that. And that's awesome, because it's like there's a lot of things to explore, and you don't need to like rush through it. Like human design is not here to help you heal your trauma faster, right? It's ultimately here to help you see all of it so you can just accept it and realize, oh, I don't need to heal this stuff. I just need to like not make it worse. Anyway, for anyone that wants to download the app, it's called Neutrino Design, and you can get it for 25% off if you follow the link in my bio. And it's the full app experience. There's a lot of really cool features in this app. All you need to do is enter your birthday and birth time. There's a small subscription. Again, 25% off will put the price at $26 for the year. So for $26 for the year, you could essentially have I can't talk about that right now. I get so excited. I want to talk about features that are in development. But right now, it is, in my opinion, the best place to have on demand information about human design. You can use your chart, you can tap on things and learn, and you can collect other people's charts as well. So yeah, the link is in the bio, and totally totally user friendly. Like, that being said, the user friendly question is good because it's like any other app, in the sense that you're gonna have to learn the mechanics of it. It's really pretty smooth. Um, I'm so excited to introduce human design to my 15-year-old son. I'm here to help with that. Um, but with the app, again, like I said, it's human design as a system is a whole new language. So you don't want to like attempt to learn everything right away. The best thing you can do is actually just experiment with your strategy and authority and see if this is something that you're like into. You know what I mean? Because not everyone is going to resonate with human design, mainly because human design doesn't give a fuck about your feelings, and sometimes people like get turned off of their self-awareness because something is too real or they can't like handle the truth. Not trying to shame anyone it's not time yet, but human design really doesn't care. Human design has certain gates like obstruction and limitations, and like the one that's in transit right now, like judgment, or work on what's been spoiled. It has things that are really designed to activate us in a certain type of way that's going to cause us to level up in our awareness, right? And so that's what we want. Anyway, hello, Jen. Thank you for the, what is that? Candies? Thank you for the candies. I appreciate you. If you guys are enjoying this, do me a favor. Like the live, share the live with some of your friends. The goal is to get this number really, really high over here on TikTok. What's up, Dreamer Christy over here on YouTube? I got the YouTube stream going on at the same time. What's up to my YouTube family? And TikTok is always just blasting off. And so, what I really wanted to talk about today specifically was really about how to like support yourself, right? And this is something that for me is it's a very simple process because living in physical bodies, one of the first ways that we want to support ourselves is to physically support ourselves. Part of that physical support is super basic things: water, good food, enough sleep, movement in the morning, and a little bit of meditation. Now, the reason I say a little bit of meditation in the physical component, because there are mental, emotional, and spiritual components that, in my mind, build on top of the physical. Like, you have to not necessarily like master the physical, but it is important to make sure that the roots of your consciousness are grounded in the physical world, because there's plenty of people who are just totally like fifth dimension celestial beings that never actually land in their body. For me, I'm not inspired by those people. It's cool that you can channel and do remote viewing and all that stuff, but it's like a lot of times people like that will also have a lot of health issues. And they're also not necessarily like actively engaged in their physical body as much as I judge they should be. So anyway, totally just riffing. And the reason I say this as well is because when I did my spiritual awakening thing, I was like super fifth dimension. I was just like, oh yeah, like meditate, visualize the world, blah 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 blah. And I was a fighter, like a martial artist before that, and so my pendulum swung super hard in the other direction. 3-5, got to do it. Um, and now it's like swinging back, or it's starting to balance out, I could say. So I'm equally as, and I'm probably more physically engaged than spiritually engaged, but I feel more spiritually connected because of how physically engaged I am. Anyway, what's up, brother Bob? Appreciate you, my friend. I get confused with sacral response and emotional authority. Yeah, I got you. So, generators with emotional authority, and just anyone in general with emotional authority, like, acceptance of your emotions is really paramount, right? And for someone that is maybe a few decades into life and has created patterns around how to respond to emotions and what emotions mean, it's like emotions are like the chaotic soup of life, right? That's like in terms of like a quantum field, that's the quantum field right there, is the emotions, right? And they can just as easily put you way up here as it can way down there. So the idea with dealing with emotional authority is to write out emotional authority before you actually do you respond with your sacral. And in many times when you're in the emotional wave, don't attempt to respond with your sacral. Like when you're in an emotional wave, and this is what emotional authority means, when you're in the emotional wave, be in the emotional wave. Don't try and make decisions, right? Don't try and make decisions. GN, but it won't sync with my subscription to Marco. I accidentally tabbed out after I paid. Link expired, but payment went through. Check your email, Jan. You should get a code and instructions on how to like activate the app. Yeah, does sacral response need to be simple sounds or can it be words too? So within sacral response, there are sacral responses in everything, right? Like for instance, if I was talking like this and you know, um, I can still use the words, but it's a totally different engagement from me. And it affects the way I think, it affects the way you guys receive the information. Versus if I turn it up a little bit and I actually engage my diaphragms down here rather than just using my vocal cords, I'm actually connecting my vocal cords, my stomach is flexing. There's a different engagement that happens with life when you connect to your sacral that words will sometimes take the place of, that they don't actually have an authority over. So, for instance, if I were to tell you, like, oh, yeah, I love you so much, you're my everything. That's very like calm, smooth, not necessarily no sacral energy, but it's like a lot lower than I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. Like you can feel it in the words and its tone, its body language. And when we're talking about body language too, just to be clear, like if someone asks me like, "Hey, do you want to go see Frozen 3?" and I just stand up, especially for manifesting generators, that's a sacral response. Now, to go back to Jenny's question about the emotional authority is like when you are in your emotional authority, you will sometimes, even if your sacral is defined, you will sometimes have sacral responses that are not necessarily correct for you. That's just how emotional authority works. Emotions are here to teach us patience. They're here to help reveal the truth. And they do that by churning you. And so that all of the not truth gets exposed. What's the best advice that you can offer a 3-5? So I'm a 3-5, so I'm a great person to ask advice on this for. Um, you either win or you learn. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. A lot of people are going to look at you sideways, so it's usually just best to do your own thing till people are begging to work with you. Yeah, don't be afraid of failure. If anything, be afraid of not failing. Like if there's any times in your life when you're not um, a student at something, and actually, I recognize I'm out of practice with this because for a while I was learning new songs on guitar, and that was part of my area. I like to call it my student area. It's the place where I consistently go because I suck at it, right? And I don't suck at guitar, but when I'm learning a new song, I suck at that new song until I don't, until I practice enough. And guitar is one of those areas where it's like there will always be a song that I suck at playing. And instead of being like, oh, I suck at this, I'm not good, it's like, oh, I'm like checking off a box as a 3-5, and anyone else, because I'm a 3-5, but anyone with a 3 in their profile, or if you have a 6 in your profile and you're below the age of 30, have an area in your life where you're a student. Have an area in your life where your voice is cracking or you're playing the wrong note or any of that kind of stuff. Like have an area where you suck. For the 6'3", 21 years old, feeling chaotic, great. Great. This is a time in your life, your Shauna Codes. If I can give you any advice, it's like don't even expect to do anything until you're like 30 that's gonna like quote unquote hit. Like be very, very patient with your success, right? Even once you get to 30 as a sixth line, we got another 3-6 here, Carrie. When you guys get to 30, that's when your Saturn return hits. And as a sixth line, that's when you go into like a reflection period, right? The reflection period lasts a decade to 2 decades, right? And then when you're 40 to 50, that's when you reemerge as the role model. And you're not here to like lead people, you're here to show people this is what a satisfied generator with emotional authority looks like. This is what a successful projector with splenic authority looks like. And it's not so you're living up to the role model ideals of someone else. It's that you are actually living yourself. You're living your life. You're manifesting your circuitry and not attempting to like mask yourself by like being other people. So these numbers come from the specifically it's the sun and earth on your personality and design side. And can you explain the colors on the chart? So one thing that I've been playing around with doing this um, is for the people that get the subscription through me. I was thinking about doing um, some kind of like ridiculous course where I teach you guys human design basically through using the app. Um, which now that I'm saying it live, it's like, yeah, duh, do that, Marco. Got to ride my wave out on it, or my lunar wave out on it. But that's something that I am thinking. So, um, this live has shown me a lot about the best way to get information to the populace, and so yeah, I think that's something that's in my like little pressure cooker that eventually we're gonna be talking about. In terms of the colors, though, you're gonna see the colors of the centers actually do not have much relevance, like the actual colors of the centers. But what you're looking at in terms of colors, which there's actually a deeper layer of human design that's partially based in colors, tone, base, and colors, which are like the lines of the hexagram. So you have the hexagram. Each hexagram has 6 lines. Each line has there's 6 lines. Each of those 6 lines has 6 tones. Each of those tones has a color. Each of those, so it's a lot. Anyway, lunar wave. Riley, what's up? But yeah, so I think I am gonna do it again. I'm gonna write out my lunar wave so that I can structure it properly for myself because I do that thing where I'm like really excited about something and I get it going, but I get it going too fast and then I can't keep it up and then I just let it go. Which is why actually the lives now used to be Monday through Thursday, and now they're Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I gave myself a day off and gave myself some time in between after a month of doing it Monday through Thursday. So if I'm going to do something for a month, that will kind of show me how sustainable it's going to be for me. And if I need to adjust it, I just adjust it. But I get to make these little micro adjustments because guys, I've been doing human design for like a decade now. You know, I've been doing human design for a decade, and there's a lot of things that make a big difference up front that a lot of people don't spend enough time on, in my opinion. Like they try and learn too much advanced stuff, or they try and like convince their friends of learning human design, which is not that any of that's bad. But like the best thing you can do, especially if you have like this feeling of like, oh, I'm awake and I'm alone, right? If you're awake and you're alone, that's a great place to be. Just be alone, right? Just be alone. Especially if you're like a projector or a generator or a manifesting generator or a reflector. Basically, if you're not a manifester. Um, being alone is a great thing because you get to kind of like detox other people's energies. Vanessa Ortiz, I'm new. Do you do like private introduction readings for people? I do. Yeah. So anyone that wants like a private introduction, and it's not like a hey, let me teach you how to learn human design. It's also a that you will learn about human design and have a really good grip on like, okay, this is how this stuff works. Um, but it's also like a time for you to like get counsel from me, a time for me to ask questions about you because I get really interested in people and in body graphs is one of the reasons why I love human design so much because it's such a cool talking point. It's like a mad lib for me. Like you give me your mad lib and I look and I'm like, okay, what word would you put here? Oh, that's interesting. How about right here? Well, based off of your mad lib, and then I give the reflection. So yeah, anyone that wants to have a session with me, I do live sessions. I actually have one coming up here. Let's see. Yeah, I have 2 of them coming up today. Oh, that's fun. Um, and yeah, so if you want to get on my calendar, the link is in my bio or reikimarco.com is is the website that you want to go to. If you guys are enjoying this, by the way, do me a favor, tap the screen. That's gonna bump this number up and that's gonna put us up. Like we are competing. Get this, and this is crazy to me because I'll look at the daily rankings, and if you guys, I think it's this button right here, but if you click the daily rankings and you see who's at the top of the daily rankings, it's like, yeah, man, he ain't got no heat. He ain't got no heat. Yeah, my team about to smash your team. Yeah, like what are they doing? I know what they're doing, but like what are they actually doing? Doesn't make sense. So my partially selfish, non-selfish goal is like, hey, it'd be cooler if like someone like me or me were to have like 100,000 likes thanks to you guys, and we are putting this message out to people so that instead of like, oh, in terms of live entertainment on TikTok, I get to choose between 7 different lives of the same exact thing that we are going to be up there, and that's my vision. So by this time next year, because I'm planning on doing this for at least a year and a half, like this is my jam right here. We're gonna go live. We're gonna share about human design, and we're gonna like wake people up. We're gonna give people an opportunity to see themselves so they can love themselves. And also, thank you guys for for replying to the only yes. Yes, I am in a school bus. This is my school bus. Which is funny story. Um, as a reflector, it with a projector partner, me and my partner never sleep in the same bed. My partner and I have a daughter together, and my partner and my daughter sleep together, and I sleep in this bus. I sleep alone every night. And me and my partner are more in love than ever. So it's like if you have a partner or a romantic partner, one of like the biggest like hacks that I found in relationships is literally just to sleep in your own bed. Hi, do you know what God did for us? I know what he did for me. I think God gave us, an opportunity to, and this is actually a cool question because like God, right? A lot of people don't want to touch that, but they talk about free will, right? In the Bible, like God gave you the option to like follow Jesus or not follow. And it's like God gave us the option to be ourselves or to not be ourselves. To me, that's kind of more so what Jesus is representing of. Not like the only way to God is through him. That might have been for a time, I think, but now it's so much more like the way to God is to like cultivate a relationship with God. And that actually was the original message of Jesus, in my opinion. How does it feel to be a reflector? What's the most challenging part of it? The most challenging part of being a reflector is not getting involved with other people's problems and lives. Because I care about people so much. I care about my friends so much. And I imagine a lot of projectors have this same issue because part of being a reflector is like, oh, I see a lot of things that a lot of people don't see about themselves. And not everyone is asking me for my counsel and my advice. Not a lot of my um and it's a lot less now because I don't keep company that doesn't counsel me. Like I have friends that counsel me like on a weekly basis. Hey, what do you think about this? We should do this. Like, what do you think about that? Yeah, those are my friends because they they know what they have with me. And that's one of the things that I did not respect about myself. I didn't understand that I was able to, and human design was one of the things that cued me in, like, oh, you actually have this. Oh, is that a paper crane? My lord, thank you. Um, I didn't understand that about myself. And of course, if I can't see that about myself, I can't love it. And if I can't love it, other people are not going to be able to love it either. Straight up. Projector sleeping with projector in the same bed. Paula, again, for me, what works best is we always sleep in our own beds. We do cuddle. We are close. We're intimate. We do all those things. But when it comes time to like knocking out and snoozing, I leave the bed. My daughter, who's a manifester, which is hilarious enough, if I'm in bed with my partner too late, my daughter, before my daughter likes to go to bed, she likes to kick me out of the bed. She likes to kick me out of the house. She's like, Daddo sleeping in the bus. Mm. Well, hello from Finland. What kind of accent is that? Hello from Finland. It's just some weird British accent. I love that like snobby British accent. I love that one. Um, I'm from San Diego, but I'm on Maui, and currently I'm just sipping on coffee. It was like had a big long day yesterday, so every now and then I like to get geeked out on coffee. Is there a link between HD and romantic relationships like matchmaking? Totally. And hello from Australia. Hi, Michelle. So one of the cool things about the app that that you can do is it has weekly match, and you can specifically do matches for romance, and the app will actually match you with other users on the app based off of your body graphs. Now, when it comes to, and I think Riley was yeah, Riley's so on point. Riley's been cruising with me for a minute. What they're saying is exactly on point. Just because your body graphs have a lot of chemistry doesn't mean that that's the person that you're actually in a relationship with. And in most cases, people that are looking at their body graphs for compatibility, in a lot of ways, it's like you have to understand your body graph. You have to embody your body graph for that even to be relevant. It's like there's a certain level that you have to reach in terms of embodiment, which is like taking the information and actually downloading it into your physical matter, your cells and your tissues. Um, that if you're not there, the composite, the body graph composite is like, again, there's plenty of people out there that are not living life in a natural way. And it's not that they're not following human design, it's that they're not following the cues and the subtle energies that human design points to. Human design is not the reason why you are the way you are. You are the way you are. Human design just lets you know why you are that way. And then you can how you say, level that up and start to, and it's not about ascending, guys. It's not about leveling up leveling up in that way. It's actually about descending. It's about learning how to surrender to your form and your body more. So that way, your body and the natural mechanisms and subtle energies of your body can help to orchestrate things. Because that's one of the reasons why people have a lot of anxiety, is because they're trying to control the external world with their mind. But their mind is like, it absorbs information from the external world. It doesn't put information out as much. That's what the body is for. So anyway, I'm so grateful for HD. I've been so satisfied since, yes. Well said, Riley. And these are the kind of results that we get. It's like, and by we, I mean, I truly mean we, because it's like, I can't do anything for you. I can point to certain areas, I can mark spots on your map, but I can't dig up your treasure. You have to dig up your treasure. I can celebrate you. I can let you know when you're digging in the wrong spot. I can let you know that, hey, you don't need to dig as fast. Like you're closer than you think. I do all that stuff, but I can't dig it up for you. And that's why the message, at least, is so important. And the reason it's so important is because with human design, again, follow your strategy and authority for a month. See if life doesn't respond to you living like yourself. See if some of the people who have been treating you with disrespect are suddenly like not able to poke at you anymore. If we have a gate in detriment, we can still experience its exaltation. Totally. Yeah. So gates in detriment and exaltation, it's a polarity expression. And when we're talking about detriment and exaltation, it doesn't mean that you're always fixed in detriment. It just means that more than usual, like, you are going to be fixed in detriment. So it doesn't mean you can't experience the exaltation, but the more you accept the detriment, again, the more you'll be able to see that detriment showing up in your life, the more you can account for the impact. How do I connect to the 63? So it's like 63 is all about limitations and transcending your limitations. Connecting to the 63, number one, primarily is through melancholy, right? What is it? What do you do when you feel the pressure to transcend a limitation, but it's not time to transcend the limitation, right? Do you attempt to transcend the limitation anyway? Do you ignore the limitation? Are you able to just like be with that pressure? So your relationship with the channel and the way that you respond to like the influence of the channel, or the energy of the channel, that is what gives you so much value. It's not like, oh, I'm the best at this, because that's not what it's about. It's not just because you have a channel doesn't mean like, oh, your judgments are right, or oh, your obstructions, that's 39, is obstruction or provocation. It doesn't mean that poke everybody you see, right? Just because you have that channel or that gate. What it means is, what is your relationship to provocative energy? You have a relationship to that provocative energy. If you can discover what that relationship is, then you can navigate more accordingly. It's like this: if you have a boat that is designed for shallow waters, but not deep waters, you ought to spend more time in shallow waters, exploring more shallow waters. Because if you take it out to the deep, you're going to get destroyed. That's it. So, but you have to, you can, like, so for instance, gate 39, typically people with gate 39, and this is one that I have as well, they like to poke at things. Then it's provoking an emotional response, right? It's like, what's under the surface here? I'm looking for the abundance, and it's not necessarily depth. It's more so like, hey, like, what makes you unique? is really what I see. And that's through my frame of reference because I'm a reflector and I'm always looking for like who's actually themselves, who's willing to be themselves. Um, because I want to know those people and I want to help those people because I think we have enough clones. Um, but anyway, gate 39 is like learning where that shows up. For me, it's like an itch. It's literally like an itch. If I start feeling an itch and I want to scratch it, but the person isn't open, they're not receptive, I just don't spend much time around that. I'm like looking for the people that are like, you know something. What do you know? Will you tell me? That's more engaging for me. Eunice, this is crazy that I bumped into your live today. I was talking about the same gut feeling. Yes. Yes. So yeah, so anyone with a 39, there's nothing wrong with you if you want to like provoke emotional responses. Like you're really just looking for the depth. Now you have to be aware that, oh, that's the kind of person I am. Some people are very sensitive to that. Some people are very sensitive to that. And that's only your problem if it's your problem. Like if you're just hanging around with them and now you're like, "Oh, I feel bad for doing this." Or blah. And it's not that you shouldn't take responsibility for provoking, but it's like again, you're either going to like make everybody happy and you're not going to be happy or you're going to piss some people off and you're actually going to get to be happy. That's how it is. Not everyone is on your fractal. Exactly. Yeah. The key is to not take anything personally. And if you do take it personally, be honest about it. Right? Like if someone says something to you and it hits you personally, the dumbest thing you can say is like, I'm not triggered. I'm sure you guys have seen that video. I think it was a Red Pill podcast. And this woman, like very kindly, is asking this guy, like, hey, if you're so disciplined and all this, why don't you just stick to one woman? And he gets triggered as fuck. And he goes, I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. You're annoying. I think you're annoying. He just totally goes in defense mode. Rather than saying, hey, you know what? That's I'm kind of taking that personally, and that's just not something I want to do. And I can't rationalize it, but it's not something I want to do. So anyway, if you guys have seen that video, tap the screen because that kind of masculinity is so funny to me. It's like it's not really masculinity at all. Because the true masculine is like if something hits them personally, they say, "Wow, okay, hold on, I can't respond right now. I'm very triggered. I might say something that I'll regret." That's like real math. That's like true ownership of emotions is, yo, I can't even respond right now. I'm just too in a whirlwind. Like when you actually take something personally, take it personally. But then take yourself out of the situation and go feel what you need to feel. Don't try and like combat somebody about how you are not taking it personally. It's the dumbest thing. Anyway, because you're working towards resilience. You're working towards tolerance, right? Any advice for a 5-1? Absolutely. So 5-1s, ultimately, what I've recognized with 5-1s is that you're going to have a lot of judgments about other people. Um, and your measuring stick is not the one that they should be using for their own life. So in being a 5-1, there's a lot of sharpness I feel like with the 5-1. Yeah, don't subject people or yourself to like again these judgments that are not invited. And I know a lot of 5-1 uh, projectors, which is why my experience is that way. But with the 5-1, like it's so important to understand that like number one, you don't have the whole picture. And if you don't have the whole picture, it's okay to ask. But also it's like if someone is not telling you the whole picture, consider how much energy you're using to try and get the whole picture rather than just finding someone or finding something where you're able to ask. Like it's like how many times are you experiencing this thing where like you're asking a lot of questions and it feels like you're pushing through resistance, you know? Not to say go find someone with no resistance. But what I'm saying is that like a lot of that energy that you're using to push through the resistance, you might find people that are very welcoming of that. And I recommend finding those people because the people that are resisting your questions, it's more than they're just like they don't like questions. It's like you're both on hamster wheels looking at each other like making fun of each other. So find people that are more open to your questions. Find people that are going to be how you say, more responsible with their projections, because the 5-1 definitely gets a lot of projections in terms of like, oh my god, you're the best, we love you, and oh my god, you're the worst, we hate you. Very important to learn how to accept those. And again, if someone says something like you're a lazy person and you take it personally. Don't fight about it. But if it hits you and it lands, am I a lazy person? Shit. Especially if you want to defend it. I'm not a lazy person. I do this and that and that and that. Just like say like, oh, thanks. Okay. I'm gonna look at that. And then go look at that. Because guess what? When someone projects onto you, it's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you reveal that you are actually like playing into that projection by trying to defend yourself against that projection. Anyone get that one? I used to do that a lot. 5-2 with my 5-1 business partners and all their questions. Exactly. So MJ, like, invitation to ask 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 them what kind of questions are they afraid of. Are there any questions that they're afraid of asking? Maybe not to you, maybe not all at once, maybe not verbally. Maybe it'd be easier for them to ask questions in a text format, but this is one of the ways that we can encourage people to be themselves while giving ourselves what it is that we actually are craving and desiring, which for the second line is like, hey, I'm going to just be over here. When you guys have all the questions that you want to ask, let me know. I'll come out and answer them. That kind of life. Um, so anyway, how about astrology chart? I used to be investigated about charts until I discovered human design, which is more accurate. Should consult both. So astrology and human design are technically competing metaphysical systems of transformation. And the reason I say they're competing is because when it comes to astrology, which is very soupy, there's not a whole lot of structure in terms of like how to apply astrology to your life, which is why I think a lot of people really resonate with human design, because it's strategy and authority. With astrology, it's like, oh, love these parts of yourself. But like, what do I do? Human design is like, wait to respond, wait for an invitation, initiate, wait a lunar cycle, honor your emotional authority, listen to your intuition. It's like, it's very much so simple and clean is what I like about human design. Um, I don't want to say either is more accurate because they're both based off of like essentially energies that we can't physically see. The reason, again, I like human design though is because you can physically see frustration on somebody's face. I will literally have a session with someone and I will watch them go from like to like, I will watch the satisfaction creep up from their gut after we've been talking. And every time they answer a question that's supposed to be with their sacral, with a, I think this or I think that, and I'll ask trick questions in my sessions. I'll be like, you feel comfortable right now? And they're like, yeah, this chair's pretty comfortable, but sometimes it's, and then I'll be like, whoa, hold on a second. Remember the thing I said about strategy? Are you comfortable right now? And they'll be like, and I was like, is there something you can do to get more comfortable? They'll stand up, move around a little bit, sit back down, and be like, wow, I'm so much more comfortable. I'm like, that is the magic of strategy. That is it. It's about how do we get this information into the physical body, because it's already in the physical body. How do we make space in our lives to manifest this energy into the world? That's what we're doing. I have done this since 1978. Evolutionary astrology is very much applicable. Star Muse. That's definitely not the astrology that I was introduced to. I'm a pure manifesting generator. What does pure mean? So pure manifesting generator means you have the 34 going up to the 20. That's the manifesting generator line. That's essentially connecting power to the voice in the now. That's the like when someone, if you're at a comedy show and someone's like, whose first time is it in Vegas? Like you're the person that like your hand immediately goes up. Or at least you have the impulse to put your hand up. Because it's the energy to identify with the now. Or to like, hey, who thinks that this guy is a dummy? It's very like, ooh, it's very again, you're manifesting your sacral response like instantly. Now, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to go around initiating on people, right? You still want to wait and respond, because strategies are going to help us find people to collaborate with that are correct for us. that are able to see us, that are able to recognize us, appreciate us, and put our skills to good use, right? And that's why most of the world is not designed to initiate. It's only 9% of the world. Tips for a 6'2" reflector in hermit phase. I just got understanding HD early this year. Oh, okay, I got you. So hermit phase, between 30s and 50s, very, very important that and this is where you as a reflector really learn to sync up with your moon cycles. And one of the things that I would really highly recommend is whenever you can see the moon, be out under the moon. Like I luckily live in a place where there's very little light pollution, and I'm able to go outside and be under the moon and like dance under the moon. I'll journal under the moon. I'll reflect under the moon. Super important to do that kind of stuff. Now, it's also very important in your hermit phase to like be in the hermit phase. There will be times when you're like, I'm lonely. I feel like no one likes me. I feel like I have no friends. You may have friends, you may have not. But you gotta like embrace being at that point. Part of being a hermit is like, yeah, sometimes you're gonna want to be with other people, but you're not going to be with people. Coming out of the hermit phase. Again, there's something that's going to shift in you where it's like you've done enough of this stuff for yourself. Now people are going to start to see you as a little bit more of a, how do you say, a role model. But it's not because like you're inspiring them. It's because now you've learned how to actually be inspired by your authority, which for me is the moon. Because it's like, for me, it's like every month I plant seeds, and every month they grow and fall over, and I get to choose which seeds to plant again. So for any reflectors out there, so important. What seeds are you planting? What stage of maturity are they at? Are you planting them again next season? This is how we do it. And we're almost at 20K. This is great, guys. So if you're enjoying this live, you could do me a huge, huge service by just tapping the screen or sharing the live. Gifts are awesome, but really, like, my goal is to get this up to, eventually I want to get to the point where we're like at 100,000 every live, because then we will be ranked up there with the, like, oh man, he ain't got no heat. Yeah, we coming in strong. He ain't got no hands. But there the people, you guys know what I'm talking about. The TikTok battles, so dumb. So dumb. I want the human design team to just like go up to these guys that are like, winning the battles. And if we crush those people, you know how many people are just going to be like, oh my God, human design is tight. This squad, this team is tight. That's our team, guys. This is team human, not NPC team. Okay. So that's what we're starting. And it also too, like, I am super, open to anyone who has like technical skills or wants to be an admin. Jenny has graciously donated, or I could say engaged in such a way where it's like we're like working together. You know what I mean? Like out here in the community, we're working together. She's part of the reason why some of you are stumbling upon this live right now. So thank you, Jenny, and thank you to everyone else who has participated and engaged in this live and in a way. Let's see, where can I learn about this? So if anyone is curious about their body graphs and information for them specifically, because this is, you can ask questions here. And Jenny, I love you supporting me as well. Thank you so much. Um, all of the questions that you guys are asking, generally speaking, especially if they're like, what's my incarnation cross? What's my profile mean? What's my strategy and all that stuff? So I have reports on my website. There's a $20 report that'll literally give you the answers to all those questions. And there's a $35 report that will give you my introduction to human design, which is super helpful, especially for people that are like brand new to human design. I definitely recommend the Reiki report. And then it'll also give you techniques to like embody this. Now, I also do one-on-ones, and they come with a report. So if you're like, I know I just want to meet with Marco, it will come with that Reiki report, the $35 report. So if you want to drop in with me one-on-one, you'll get your report as well. I have fear motivation. We just have to do a lot of research and get to the bottom of things. Yeah, motivation, again, motivation is a I don't want to call it a more advanced feature in human design. Um, but in a lot of ways, again, strategy and authority are like primary things that you gotta touch in on. Then a lot of the other stuff. starts to ping. Yes, get a report. I cried reading mine. It was so accurate and being confirmed who I am. Oh my God, I love that. I love it. Reiki report. Sally, thank you so much. Scammers do that. So there are a lot of scammers out there. They will ask you for money. If you go to my website, there's like, come to my website. My website's safe. Enter your body graph. That's how you get a report. You don't get a report by sending money to an account version of me. Um, you generate your report first, and there's buttons to buy it. So yeah, just yeah, don't get scammed, please. So it wasn't you that messages about doing readings. So yeah, so I'm never going to reach out to you and solicit a reading. If you want to get a reading, you come to me. The body graphs again are available on my website. So said you were going through randomly to read reports and doing a reading. Yeah, no, that's probably not me. I do kind of like, like little mini readings right here. Yeah, I don't think so. I never replied. Yes. So any of those like scam accounts, if you see like Reiki underscore Marco or Reiki Marco with 3 zeros or 3 O's, that's not me. Again, I'm not here to like solicit my services. Um, not in that way, at least I'll come do it here. But this is like, how you say, it's I think in a lot of ways it goes against my strategy as well to like go into your DMs and be like, oh, I need to like do something for you, right? And you need to pay me. Is there a gate that is like a reflector? Not necessarily. 22 is my sun gate, and it's openness, emotional openness. That's very reflector-esque. Gate 22. So is 12. Trying to think of some other ones. 39 is pretty reflector because it's like, hey, look at this image of yourself. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't have anything extra, so I don't think I was confused. I thought you were asking if could do a live like your mini readings. Oh yeah, so that is something that I'm probably next month going to start experimenting with, is like doing live readings here. And like I was saying before, I will probably have someone to help with all of that. And already some of you guys are, Riley, Jenny, y'all are like in the comments responding to people in the comments because I'm not able to get to all of this stuff, which is great. And it's super helpful. So yeah, so we're gonna be, again, this October is going to be kind of like a threshold month of how am I gonna set that up. We might experiment it with a couple times, but come November, December, we'll probably have some how you say, some things rolling where we're actually able to do lives here, and you'll be able to, like, I don't know, Venmo me and then I'll get your chart. It's tricky because, like I did a little mini reading with my buddy Cody the other day. Julia, thank you for sharing the live, appreciate you. And that was awesome. um and that was a unique circumstance. So anyway, Adrian, I don't think you missed anything, my friend. Best job for generators. What do you guys think about that? So I do have a Discord server. I'm like not in there anymore, to be straight up. I started it because I just got obsessed with Discord. But I do have a Discord server. I'm Coco Bones over there in Discord land. Great people over there in Discord. It's just I've evolved away from it, or I've grown away from it in a way. I still have like admin permissions and all that stuff. Still got a team of moderators in there, but it's just not. I used to pump it every day, and now it's more so about this. Um, yeah, anyway, what is your analogy for the aura types, the roles to each of you? Cool question. So generators and manifesting generators, they are very much so they are like the if you could, what analogies do I want to use? So we could use like an economy in a way. They are like all of the shipping that happens. They're the logistics, right? Projectors are going to be the ones that organize the logistics. Manifestors are the ones that start and end the logistics. And then reflectors are the ones that oversee the logistics and make sure that the people performing the logistics are doing it according to the guidance that is being given from the projectors. In a superhero context, generators are going to be um, probably like the super generators are like definitely like the juggernaut, like super strength. Manifesting generators are the flash, super speed. Reflectors are going to be either like the psychics or the invisible people. Manifestors are going to be, they're going to be, man, what is it? What would the manifestors be? Um, Manifestors would be probably some kind of like specialized ability, like like they can speak things into existence, or they're like cyclops, or like the very unique kind of things. And then projectors are probably also going to be like definitely flying ability, able to see into the future, that type of stuff. um but anyway, I love analogies because they really help me. Laser vision, totally. Hell yes, I'm professor. Yeah, right. Tim, we're just over here, just like in a wheelchair, just like let me just see everybody real quick. Um, which is again, these are really fun. And one of the things that I actually used to do in TikTok, Lism, I'm a reflector, 3-5 reflector, and one of the things that I used to do on the Discord channel, which was really fun, was I had a channel for like the celebrity embodiments or the entertainment world's embodiments. So, like for instance, Gate 18, work on what has been spoiled. Like whoever a fixer is in your mind, like maybe like Doctor Who, or characters that are like known for being fixers, right? Bob the Builder. I don't know. Um, that is like one of the things that I like to do. That, and we do that on the disc. We used to do that a lot on the Discord. I used to go live every day on the Discord, and now it's transitioned over here. Again, this is one thing about a reflector that I really learned to appreciate about myself, is like not everything I do is gonna be something I do forever, or even something I do for a long time. And I went through several lunar cycles in terms of like my exit and how I wanted to exit, and I realized like I didn't need to exit it, because now it's just like a group of people that are like super sweet and supportive, and they check in every day with each other, and that's fine. I don't need that space to be anything more than what it is, but I know what I want to create, and that's what we're creating right here. And now we're at 25. This is a good day. Can I speak more about Gate 18? Totally. So Gate 18, thank you guys for all of these likes, by the way. All of these likes are super helpful, again, so we can compete with those battle NPC nonsense. Ah, I'm so excited. Thank you, Riley. I've been watching the counters, just like, yeah, liking and sharing is awesome. And let's talk about Gate 18. Let's get to 25,000 likes, and then we'll talk about Gate 18. Did you know Sandra Bullock is supposed to be a reflector? It's so funny, actually. That was one of the first people that I found out that was a reflector. After finding out I was a reflector, yeah, she's like one of the very well known reflectors, which I think is really interesting. Because I don't really know her that well or have seen many of her movies, but I've always liked her. Anyway, um, let's see. All right, we're at 25. So let's talk about Gate 18. So Gate 18 is actually, the sun is in transit. Gate 18.5. I think it was. Let me check real quick. Gate 18.5, which is specifically correction. That's the gate name. Work on what has been spoiled. The line name is therapy, which the exaltation is the wisdom to both seek and provide guidance, the potential for correction and judgment through relationships. And the other side of it is the mental patient, chronic instability, and potential madness, where relationships cannot assist in correction, the potential of mental instability. And so what I love about human design, again, is there's stuff like that, where it's like, look, this gate is either going to express itself in an exalted, healthy version, or a detrimental version. And for instance, you could use the detriment, the chronic instability and potential madness, you can use that to your advantage. You just have to be aware that that's where you're starting from, right? In the sense that, mental instability, the ability to, how you say, channel that. You can channel mental instability, like have an area of like total free flowing exploration. I have times when I'm singing songs and I'm like making up weird words and language. I'm being crazy. I'm being mentally unstable. I'm singing about stuff that's like, this is what a crazy person would sing about. So I channel my mental instability. I've never heard anything good about gate 18 or 4-1 projector, and I'm both. 4-1s are very powerful. You want to be really mindful about the people that you invite, because as a 4-1, you're generally going to invite people deeper than you expect. So being really mindful about that. Gate 18 is actually for me, it's like, it's such a wonderful gate because my partner has it. Anti-theist, real quick, means like you start by believing in God and then you um, work towards believing in yourself. So power in the external world, believing in God in an external form. Anti-theist is believing in your own like inner power. Um, and we just had a center change. The moon has entered gate 47, and now my head is undefined. What's what? But gate 18 is brilliant. It's like that sage that just watches, and it's like it knows whether or not something is like needs to be fixed. Like with my partner has gate 18. She has the channel, right? She has the channel 1858. That's her only channel. And because that's her only channel, one of the things I ask her pretty much every day is like, hey, is there anything that we need to work on? Is there any corrections that we need to make? Right? And that makes our communication so much better because it's just like, oh, I'm just giving her an opportunity to express. So best place to get moon cycle updates is the same place that I get them, which is Neutrino Design. Oh, gotta sneeze. Thank you guys. So in Neutrino Design, you can literally have notifications that will let you know, like I have. Thank you guys. I sneezed. Um, so I would say get Neutrino Design. It's actually the only app that I'm aware of that does that. And your chart will change. It's like your chart will not change, but it's not always the same, is what I like to say. So the app is it's called Neutrino Design, and if you go through my link, 25% off. It's already a good price, but like 25% off, extra savings. Awesome. Um, Yes, also Riley for Dorito. It's like it's a lot of information. If you're a few days in, focus on strategy and authority and looking for where those two things show up in your life. And human design does work with planetary transits. So depending on planetary transits and also depending on who you're with, because if you're with somebody, and something that the app does is you can take two body graphs and overlay them and look at the points of chemistry, the points of conflict. You can look at what are called compromised channels, which is where, like, let's say someone has a channel that's their realm and you have half of the channel that's your realm. There's a compromise that happens there because when you're with somebody, you're able to access their circuitry, but it's still in somebody else's body, right? It's like having a musician around. It's like when the trumpet player is around, they can play the trumpet, right? And you can jam with them, but when they're not around, the best thing you can do is play a recording. It's not the same as having a live trumpeter there. So that's kind of how the transits and composites work. Is there a rhyme or reason to how the numbers are placed? Yes. So human design draws from ancient systems. One of them is the Kabbalah, which is the 10-centered tree of life. The numbers are from the I Ching, which is like ancient Chinese divination. Those two things together are how the body graph is laid out. And the concept is that you have the head and the root, and the throat, which is the manifestation point. So you have input through the head and the root in the form of pressure. From the top, you get inspiration, and you also get the pressure to think. From the bottom, you get stress. You get pressure to do things. They're going to move through the body graph towards the throat for expression. Your role is to figure out, okay, if energy is moving through me on its way to the throat, what is the path that it takes? What are the behaviors that amplify it? What are the behaviors that suppress it? And just like experiment and just watch what's happening, right? You're not here to like fix your trauma with human design. You're here to see your trauma so that you can love it, so that you can get over needing to fix it. is how it is. So how do I recommend starting this body healing journey? So two things for anyone that like really really wants to how you say learn about like your body graph, first thing you got to do is figure out your strategy and authority. Those are like the very first things. I recommend getting my reports just because it explains everything. I recommend getting the Reiki report as well because it really explains everything. But figuring out how to implement your strategy and authority, where they're showing up, where they're not showing up, or where you are, consciously or unconsciously avoiding using your strategy and authority. That's the first place to start, really is, because that's going to give you the foundation. That's going to give you like the lookout to be able to see yourself. Oh, interesting. So if you meet a reflector, what is the Reiki and the Reiki report? So someone actually, I forget who it was that gave me that idea. I sent them a report because I thought it was just such a cool line. It's Reiki because for me, when I learned Reiki, and I kind of explain it in the report in the introduction, like Reiki saved my life. Reiki is the reason that I'm here today. I was like on a bender in college and just like really did not know how to take care of myself. And then Reiki showed me how to take care of myself and ultimately love myself. The reason it's called the Reiki report is because it's my Reiki perspective on human design. It's because I was like working on human design before I knew about human design. And this is crazy because when I found human design, I was like, I felt bad. I was like, oh no, someone already like figured it out. They did the thing that I was supposed to do. And then I got to the other side of it and I was like, great, someone already figured it out. I don't have to figure that out. I can work on whatever's next. Right. Because that's one thing is like, I have gate 51. It's a dormant 51. Um, but I have that like will, like I want to be first. But it's not defined in any ways. So part of my achievements in life are like the motivation to get there is to be the first one there. But when I find things where I'm not the first one there, immediately my mind goes to, okay, well then what is next? Right. And that's part of the structure of having dormant gates is like motivation, not motivation, which is again super relevant. Riley, you have the 25. There we go. Makes sense why there's like again even types of you know how you say across the screen. There's like chemistry and because that channel is all about initiation. It's all about individualizing ourselves. And so, for instance, you have a 25, I have a 51. When we're working together, there's how you say the opportunities for us to be more of ourselves in those situations. So dormant means that you have a gate in an undefined center. If the gate is in a defined center, we call that a hanging gate. These are gates that are not part of a channel. Um, yes, but it's specifically dormant is ones where you have the gate is in an undefined center. Hanging gate is again in a defined channel. Yeah, great question. And we are almost at 30K. I'm pretty sure we can get to 35. We can definitely get to 35 before this call. Um, should I DM you on Instagram for a report? No. So if you want a report, just go to my website, plug in your information, and then you'll see once you generate your body graph, you'll see options. You'll see the custom human design report, which is just the analysis of your body graph, and then you'll see the Reiki report, which is the analysis of your body graph and the introduction to human design and techniques on how to embody that stuff. So yeah, don't DM me. Just go straight to my website. And again, for anyone else that wants one-on-one counsel or one-on-one time with me, we can go incredibly deep. We can do a lot of work in like the hour that we have together. And it comes with a report as well. So if you're like, I really want to jump into this, and maybe you're easily overwhelmed, instead of buying a report, just get a session because it comes with a report, and I explain how everything works in that report. So Jess. Thank you guys for all the likes. This is one of the likiest lives that I've ever done, which is awesome. Uh this is great, guys. This is like I feel so good about this because we're building a team here. And it's like one thing that I recognize as well, and what's so beautiful about human design is like, right now, Riley and Jenny, you guys are here. And I love that y'all are here. Sometimes you're not always here. And I hope that whatever you're doing is just as important to you or more nourishing for you than being here, because sometimes like Sadie is in here and she's helping me with this stuff. So sometimes Hello JNet is here. And so it's like this team is like, you may not be the one. And I had to realize this about myself. And I still have judgments about this of like, oh, Marco, you don't have a course. You don't have all these things. And it's like, okay, but I like doing this. I like having conversations with people, and I like team building. And actually, I want to talk about whoever was talking about the having a reflector in a community and disagreeing with them. I want to talk about that because I think that's awesome, because I've been in that situation a lot. Um, but it's like we're building a team, and everyone's got like their own part to play in the team. Jordan, what's up, manifester? Phew. And we're just building this team, and the team's like our focus, right, is to wake wake people up to this, like wake people up to that, like, hey, there's a natural way to be and there's a normal way to be. And if you can see the normal way that you are being and start to experiment with the natural way of being, you will find very quickly that people in your life, opportunities, a lot of things will shift in your favor the more you live in alignment with your natural self. Comparison games of the mind. I'm so happy and grateful you do these lives. Riley, thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor and quite a pleasure as well to like create all this with you, because guys, literally this is like, I would just be talking to myself if we didn't have technology. So I'm super grateful for the technology, and I recognize that it's underutilized and under leveraged by our kinds of people, because inherently we've been taught that, oh, technology is bad, and that, you're not supposed to, spend too much time on your phone and all that stuff. And it's like, yes, true to a degree. And we can use this to get this message out to people in like a way that's never been done before. So JD, yes, you do need your time of birth. However, Neutrino Design added yet another incredible feature called birth time rectification. So if you don't know your birth time, you can now go to Neutrino Design, enter in your birth time, and then there'll be an option to do birth time rectification. It'll ask you some questions, and then it'll estimate like what is the proper thing. Now, be very mindful about this, because if you think about your answers, you could be like tricking yourself, right? Like your mental state of like, not your mental not self, your thinking mind. um you can trick yourself. So it's yeah, it's important to um do your best to be honest and not necessarily give the right answer or the answer you want to give, but like the answer that like deep in your core is the truth. um because yeah, but anyway, birth time rectification, it's so wild. It's nuts. Like, and it's so funny too, because the developer messaged me and he's like, hey, I'm thinking of designing this feature. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I told him what I just told you guys. um I haven't even tried it yet. But one thing I know about a third line is that, and he has a solid team around him too. I'm part of his team. He also has a brother named Prana, which sometimes pops in here. He's like a celebrity in my eyes, just because he knows so much about human design, and lives it so well, and is a family man, and just a lot of things that I really appreciate about him. But I haven't tried it yet. But I know that it's work. I know that it's how you say, it's functioning, because he's a designer. So we definitely hit 35,000 likes so fast. Um, which what I'm gonna check and see where we're at in the ranking. C5 ranking. Where are we? We're in the top 10% of the C5 ranking, which I have no idea what that means, but top 10% sounds awesome to me. Yeah, some of these people have like millions of likes on this. But again, it's like, I'm not trying to compete. I'm just trying to see how far we as a collective community can take this, right? Because we can take this. My belief is that with the purpose and like the intention of what we're doing, we can have multiple millions of likes, multiple millions. And that's what like I think we can accomplish together. And then again, that translates to people learning about human design, learning, oh, I could just start practicing a simple strategy and authority. You don't need to learn human design to start practicing your strategy and authority. Yes, Tim, exactly, who's a reflector. So this is like just this past year, the team has grown exponentially. It's wild. And again, as well, like I'm exploring ways to like bring people on in a ways where like there's reciprocity. And I know a lot of you guys are like, I learned a lot from you, Marco, which is awesome. And I'm like, I want to share more of it. So it's in my mind and it's always in my mind to like properly reciprocate the magic here. And also as well, I recognize like, and part of the reason why I do this, like if I was super rich and loaded, I'd still be doing this because this is one of the most exciting things ever. It's like we're living at like crunch time in the human design calendar in human history. We're at crunch time, guys. We only have like 2-3 years of being able to be connected in this way, and this is something that I'm going to start weaving in more to this. But what I realize is like we could lose internet connection any day. Solar flare could just take out everything, and so the more people that are turned on to at least their strategy and authority, when shit hits the fan, the more people that are attuned to their strategy and authority, the more of us there will be. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, we're almost at 40K. These guys are gonna be like, who the heck is this? And it's like, yeah, I'm me. I'm a reflector. Oh, so let's go back to that. I forget Barkus. I forget your username. Thank you for being here, by the way. You said that you had a reflector in one of your communities, and that it was that you would disagree with them a lot. And one thing I want to say is that not all reflectors are like actually awake and tuned into the reality. A lot of reflectors, unfortunately, are not self, and a lot of human bacon. Got you, bacon. Thank you. A lot of reflectors will project their own internal dysfunctions on the community. But the title of reflector is like it's like rare Charizard. It's like, oh, like you're a very special being. So one thing about reflectors and my ego loves it, but also there's part of me that's like, it's not that there's nothing special about being a reflector, but it doesn't make me better than anyone. Just because my type is more rare, it doesn't make me better than anyone, and I don't want anyone to see me as being better than them. Right? There's certain things that I can how you say that I do really well, but I got good at it the same way that everyone gets good at everything. Like I practiced. And I did the third line route, which is like I practiced a lot and I fucked up a lot. And that's why I'm confident in what I do, is because before like starting to talk about human design, like I literally studied the system for like 8 years before starting to talk. 7 years, 7 years of studying and applying the system before I started talking about it. And you guys can feel the difference between me and somebody that like learned about human design 6 months ago and now is doing sessions. And no shame to that person, but like, how much can you integrate in 6 months? I know how much I can integrate in 6 months. I can become pretty masterful at something in 6 months, but I personally wouldn't feel comfortable like claiming an authority in an area where I don't actually have an authority. And so when it comes to communities that have reflectors, a lot of the times the reflector is not actually elected to reflect the community, right? Sometimes the reflector is just a part of the community, and because they're a reflector, they think that the community needs them. But unless the community is aware enough to actually invite the reflector to have an administrative role, they're not utilizing the reflector. So anyway, I feel like reflectors are naturally reflections of the environment, good or bad. Yeah. And it's like if you're having a lot of how you say arguments with the reflectors in your community, two things you need to consider, right? First thing you need to consider is like, why am I in a community where there's an underutilized reflector or like a very disappointed reflector? Another thing you might need to recognize is like in doing this, and it's not about blame. It's about self-awareness, tracking patterns, and ultimately like self-awareness. So when you're having an argument with a reflector, and I think about and I do this when I'm having an argument or a disagreement with someone, you know, they're projecting onto me. I'm like, give me more heat, give me things to work on. Like, what do I do that doesn't work for you? And it's not so that I can change myself, it's so I can decide for myself, like, do I want to relate with you in that way? If this is how you relate to people, do I want to relate with you in that way? And when it comes to relating with a reflector, again, you're going to see the best qualities of yourself in reflectors, like you probably see in me. You're also going to see the worst, especially if they're a fifth line, right? Is there a connection between human design and astrology? Yes and no. Um, you know, in terms of reference points, right? Like there is the Rave mandala, which is a wheel similar to the astrological wheel. There's reference points, but human design is not so much based in constellations. So anyway, but it's not based in constellations. It's based off of the gates of the I Ching more so than constellations. And again, they're competing. Astrology and human design are competing technically because, astrology, depending on who you talk to, there's a certain way to apply it. With human design, the first thing you do is learn your strategy and authority across the board. Typically, unless someone is like super on the fringe of human design and they're telling you to do something else, well, like 99% of human design people will be like, look, manifest or manifest strategy and authority. Learn those two things first. I won't even let you get past until you learn those two things. And that's most of the time I talk to people about that. And in my sessions, I'm looking to secure in your mind and also in my confidence, like, do you actually follow your strategy and authority or not? Because you could tell me you do, but if you don't actually, then we can't make progress. Are reflectors the true manifestors? Not necessarily. And if we're talking about manifestation in like the new age way of like law of attraction, generators are it. Generators have this magnetic quality about them when they know what satisfies them, and manifesting generators too. If like a manifesting generator just like sits in a satisfied place and they do it long enough, people will literally just come up to them and offer them things. So how do you follow your strategy and authority when you're upset? So great question, Cherry Dots. When you're upset, typically that's like some kind of emotional wave, right? If you're emotionally defined, it might have to do something with you and your emotions. If you're emotionally undefined, it might have to do with somebody else's emotions, or like, you're activated because somebody else is activated, etc. But when you're upset, you don't use your strategy. Like when you're upset and someone invites you to something, you say, "Hey, I'm upset. I can't really respond to that." When you're a manifester and you're upset and you have to initiate something, it's like, "Hey, I can't initiate this thing. I'm upset. I'm going to ride out this emotional wave. I'm going to get to a point of um, clarity, which is not, hey, let me wait till everything is perfect externally. It's, hey, there's stuff going on inside me. I'm going to pay attention to that, so that way I'm not convoluting what's going on out here." So my husband is a reflector. Greetings from a generator. Hi, Claire. Hello, hello. Um, Definitely one of the things, if you have a reflector partner in your life, um, the more you can invite them to be on their own, especially if like they don't know about human design. This is something that might be rough in the beginning because they're like, "Wow, do you not want to spend time with me?" And it's like, "No, I want to spend time with you, but sometimes you're not yourself because you're a reflector and you bring shit home with you. So please go be alone. Do it in a nicer way than that. Like, I love you so much. I really need some alone time." You can also do it like that. Like, "Hey, I really want some alone time." Could be a good time for you to get some alone time. But one of the things that I love as a reflector more than anything from my projector partner is when she invites me to take time for myself. It's so awesome. And yes, it's hard at first to follow your strategy and authority, especially if um, it's different to your conditioning. Exactly. Aish, what's up? Chew. How's it? Oh man, my sister's from New Zealand. Yeah. Wow, this gave me so much insight about manifesting generators. Come on, hey. Um, so yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about, again, manifestation is like everyone has their own style, right? And what you realize as well is that when it comes to manifestation, we are best We are best manifesting. We are the best at manifesting when we are around the right people. Strategy is designed to help get us around the right people so we can manifest better. Why is the universe shipping projectors with reflectors? Oh my God, that's hilarious. So your partner is a projector. Awesome. Lou, thank you for the, what is that, little spaceship? Little cat? I love it. I love it. I feel astrology is great for the external, HD is great for the internal. Astrology is really cool. And the one thing that I appreciate in astrology, in a lot of ways, is it paved the way, because without astrology, without the I Ching, without all the Kabbalah and all these systems that came before human design, we would not have human design. So, um, I give a lot of credit to those systems, especially because, human design is reviving this kind of like fascination with the occult. And then the occult back in the day was literally just like observing nature. It was basically science, you know. Rose quartz, hello, how are you? It's a gateway to more, yeah. And that's the thing too, is like human design is not the end all be all. It's not the silver bullet. Again, it's the map that leads you to the treasure of being yourself. You still have to go on the journey, right? It's like One Piece, right? Another episode. Every day you wake up, and it's not how can I be better than, someone that I see on Instagram. It's how can I be better than I was yesterday, right? And how can I be better than I was 15 minutes ago? And better as an arbitrary thing is like, it's not better, it's more accepting and more like grounded in what actually is going on. So sometimes, do I manifest right now? Do I generate right now? I ask the sacral, then I wait. Exactly. So, and and even one thing that I want to say too is like, even if you have an undefined sacral, it's so important for you to be tuned into those sounds, because there'll be times when I'm talking to people and I'm like, ooh, uh-huh, uh-huh, ooh, and then like I'm tired after it. And it's like they weren't toxic. They weren't, you know, venting onto me. They weren't doing anything wrong. I just was over responding because I wasn't aware of my sacral sounds. As somebody with an undefined sacral, I wasn't tracking my own sacral sounds. And these are data points that you don't have to track them, but you can track them. You are able to track these things. You are able to track your thoughts as you are tracking your gut, as you're tracking your emotions, as you're tracking your splenic information, which is your sense of safety. The difference between tracking all these data points with your mind and having a sensitivity to it is like this. If your left foot is hurting, your right hand doesn't feel the pain. You feel it in your left foot. Pain is one of the like most incredible teachers, because if your left foot is hurting and your right foot is hurting, you have awareness of the pain, right? You don't have to think about the pain. It's just like, oh, there it is. And so there's a difference between mental awareness, which is head and ajna, and there's a difference between solar plexus awareness, which does not use the mind. It does not attempt to achieve certainty. It attempts to attain clarity. The spleen does not attempt certainty, really, right? It attempts, it's looking for homeostasis, and it's looking for safety and health and vitality. It doesn't do that with the, oh, did I eat enough macros? Did I do this? It's like, hey, is the thing inside me digesting or not? That's more of the sacral, honestly. But spleen has something to do with that as well. There's this projector I really like, and I want to befriend at school, but I want to know how my sacral affects her. Right. So it's like, and again, if you're a generator you're a generator and you're wanting to connect with a projector, just recognize them, and with projectors, and not to say it's easy projectors, but it's like projectors usually have something that's very unique about them that they undervalue. And if you can recognize what that is and tell them how much you appreciate it and how it affects you as a generator, responding to that. And one thing I think as well is like, you don't need like kindness. Like if you want to be kind to somebody, as long as you're not like investing a lot of energy or like starting a business, like initiating is like, there's weight to it. Initiating is like, hey, I want to be in a relationship. It's not, yo, those are nice shoes, right? Or those are sweet shoes, or yo, I really like your style, right? That's not initiating. Okay, initiating is like, hey, let's start a business together, right? um yeah, she's got so many questions. Yeah, so just like go gas her up, and there's something is important too, is like with projectors, right? When you show how much you care, they will typically reciprocate that. It's just in their nature. Um, so two emotional projectors together. So similar charts is really interesting because you can kind of see how much of a difference little things in the charts make. Like if you guys are have like similar charts, um, something that you want to do is really like help each other see each other. Is kind of how it is. Are we at 50 now? Yo, we're at 50. It's a 50K kind of day. Well, this has been awesome. I want to talk about mental projectors because I just met another brother on island who's a mental projector. Thank you guys for 50K, by the way. Literally could not be doing. I would literally just be like sitting here talking to myself if it wasn't for you guys. So cheers for you. Thank you again. We are on this like long term mission to like be up there, to be like at the million like threshold, competing with like the NPCs and all that stuff, because this is team human. Team human. Anyway, mental projectors are the most like reflectors in that the mental authority, and this is like less than 1% of the population that is mental projectors. um, the beauty of a mental projector is that they have the ability to to see things in an environment that reflectors won't even see. This is my observations. They have, yeah, and I only got like 10 minutes max because I got to get ready for a session at 11, and I want to do some things before that. Um, but a mental projector, their authority, similar to a reflector, is in the external world. It is in the environment. And so the mental projector and the reflector are really the only two types of people that can say that, oh, I did it because the environment was like, that's what was going on. Right. And not to say that that's an excuse, a valid excuse either, because I've been there before. And yeah, eventually I had to take responsibility and be like, yeah, I need to find a new environment. I need to find a new group of people. But the mental projector, one thing that's really helpful for mental projectors is to have a coach or have somebody, and not just any coach, but like someone like me that can actually like hold you accountable, someone that can actually reflect back to you clear things. um Tim, love you, bro. Have a wonderful day, my friend. Mm. Tim's a reflector, by the way, if anyone needs a cool reflector friend. Tim's solid. Riley, much love to you. So the next one, guys, is going to be on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Hawaii time. Hopefully to see you all there. This month, or this next cycle is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Hawaii time. So thank you guys so much. We absolutely crushed it today. I'm so happy with 50,000 likes. Like it's kind of scary to be like, oh, let's go to 100,000, but I know that we're going to be able to do it. So the triple split thing, and the split definition and the quadruple split is essentially, it's like there's like, you have like your head and ajna, and then you have your root and your solar plexus. Example, that's a double split. And then if you have like your spleen and your sacral connected, but they're not all connected to each other, that's another split. Split definition is essentially, it's like there's these different islands in you, and it takes a little bit more time, and it also benefits from having more people that create these connections between you two, or between the parts of you, that will again give you perspective, because sometimes it's like, your emotions, like it takes a while for your emotions to kind of like reach your throat or your identity. And so yeah, it's deeper lesson in patience, and then also deeper lesson in variety, and tracking how people are bringing out certain qualities in you. I listen to you during mom mode. I can't like as much as I'd like to, but I do when I take a beat. Oh, Tina, bless you, friend. Thank you for that. Moon, K Moon, look at different voices in your head split. Yeah, that's interesting. Definitely, like looking at again, the channels, and how, like, again, because a lot of it is like, it's like, have a theory, test it out. Oh, I have a split between my emotions and my head, right? Okay, well, what are the gates that would bridge that? Oh, if gate 12 turns on, which is the voice of caution, then my emotions can reach my throat. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's see, let me experiment. Maybe if I'm more cautious or less cautious in certain situations, I will be able to bring these emotions into a state of like appropriate manifestation. Oh, cool. Let me test that out. So again, it's like it's a lot to do, but over time it stops becoming such a mental thing, and it becomes a little bit more grounded, and just becoming like how when you walk, if you step on something, you don't think, oh, I stepped on something, let me like recover. Your foot is reflexive. It will naturally, when it's being punctured like this, it will take the weight off that area, and it might like roll you to the side to protect you. So that's where you want to get to the point of it. It's like you want to watch yourself until now you're becoming reflexes, which is different than reactive, right? Reactive is just, oh, the conditioning playing out. Reflexive is my natural body response to this thing. Reactive is my conditioning, or my mind is the thing reacting to it. Does the moon cycle affect dreams? I get weird ones going to the end of each month. It can. Again, those things like dream journaling for sure is actually a really good practice for reflectors. Which is like dream journaling is really simple. You just like have a journal by your bed. When you wake up, you start writing. It doesn't matter if you remember your dreams or not. But the moon can definitely affect your dreams. One of the things I will say is if you look at your dream chart in Neutrino Design, which is the app that I use, link is in the bio. Um, you can kind of see like some people are like reflectors in the daytime, but then when they're laying down dreaming because of the transits, they're generators, and then they wake up tired, which is sometimes what happens to me. Um, or when you're laying down, your body graph will like certain things will turn off. Dream journaling for manifestors is great too. Again, it's like a lot of the things that I talk about, like that are great for a specific type. They're good for other types as well, but they're good for different reasons. Like for instance, the sacral calibrations that I do, they're great for generators because it's like your strategy is to follow your ahas and uh-uhs. So as a manifesting generator or a generator practicing the sacral calibration, it's like, hey, this is what your gut sounds like. Learn to trust the gut. For non-sacral beings, for projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, sacral calibrations are great because it lets you know, hey, these are your sacral sounds. Be mindful of these because these are not always yours. Sometimes these are going to be coming from other people, and sometimes you might become exhausted by using those sacral sounds when you don't actually have a sacral response. And again, track it in real time. Can't tell you how many times I've done this where I'm like talking to someone, they have a defined sacral. So I'm just like, ooh, uh-huh. And then by the end of it, I'm like, why am I so tired or like exhausted? Or I need to lay down and reset my energy. One of the things I tell projectors a lot, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to like repressurize. I'm going to take account of the temperature of my body. When I'm doing this, my body temperature is higher than normal. It doesn't need to be that hot. Doesn't need to be that hot unless I'm doing something where it does need to be that hot. So again, every 90 minutes, lay down. Yeah, that's best for projectors, but everyone can benefit from that. So anyway, guys, this is insane. 53,000 likes. Kind of like wild to think about. That means 53,000 times the screen has been touched, which is truly again, I'm just super grateful because in the real world as well, this is my income. You guys are supporting my work. You guys are getting reports. You're getting sessions. You're downloading the app. You're supporting my work. You're allowing me to feed my family. I have like a little baby. She's not a baby anymore. She's going to be 2 in November. I have a partner. We live a humble life. I live in a bus. We have like a little cottage that's like kind of tilted sideways. So all of the contribution that you guys share with me, thank you guys so much. And of course, like the greater mission is like when we share this body of work with people, we're giving people who may have never even seen an outreached hand. We're giving them an outreached hand, and all we're doing is just like learning about ourselves and loving ourselves more. So this is just, yeah, it's a dream come true, and I'm super grateful for you guys. It really is a beautiful life, and it's like both of me and my partner, our environment is wide valleys and low sound, and we literally live in the jungle with like nature noises in a valley, right? We sleep in separate beds. Like we've been using human design our entire relationship. Our daughter's a manifester. She's emotional authority. We give her time to be in her melancholy. We don't try and soothe her, make it feel all better. It's just like, oh, if you're upset about that, like, you know, go be upset, move through your emotions. We don't try and suppress it. So we've been using human design, me and my partner, for the last 3 years of our relationship. I guess 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years. Time is funny. And it works so well, guys. And so again, I just want to share that and give more people permission to experiment with this. And so, big love to you, fellow reflector. Thanking you for your energy and knowledge shared. Yes, Adrian, Wide Valleys. That's what's up. My environment is markets, and I seriously can't work until I'm in a busy environment. Right. Which is like sometimes putting something on the screen might even be like you can synthesize a marketplace. It was fun again, fun to experiment. Um, who a manifester be with. So again, like any type, as long as they're like actually themselves, you'll probably do well with. What are the activated channels coming out of undefined centers? So those activated gates coming out of undefined centers, we call those dormant gates. And they're dormant because they're basically like sleeping until the other part of their channel comes along to like light you up. My environment is market and my bathroom looks like a shop. That's like a potion shop. That's kind of cool. Thank you for the idea because I'm switching to the work from home and it's making me crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, again, it's like thinking about like markets, for instance. Markets is a place where goods and ideas are exchanging ideas. So if you put like infomercials on, or like not necessarily Gordon Ramsay because that's more kitchen, but like, like you just have stuff on. Again, that's like that is bringing the environment and the market environment into your space. Yeah, it's awesome. I have so many questions as an HD advocate in my circle. I will ask them in the next live. Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, we have to unfortunately end this live. I got to get ready for another session. I'm kind of over already time. But thank you guys so much. We are going to be back live Wednesday. So, not tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. See how I feel. But definitely Wednesday at 9 a.m. Hawaii time. Tell your friends. One thing that's really important to say in terms of tell your friends is it's like, so much easier to just like bring people to the first hand source, or I guess second hand, bring people to me rather than trying to repeat the things I say to people. Um, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. For anyone that has liked the screen, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. For anyone that has bought a report, thank you again so much. I just have so much gratitude for you guys. Hopefully, we'll see you again Wednesday, where we will continue Team Humans rise to the top of TikTok. Much love to you guys. Jenny, love you, sis. Mahalo. Aloha, friends. See you next time. All right. YouTube, much love to you guys. See you next time. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday this month and next month, 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Aloha, friends.